Okay, so first thing is we're gonna check the AI's humor. Okay, so first thing I asked it was ChatGPT, what do you consider an interesting conversation? What stimulates your algorithm? And they say complex problem solving, philosophical or ethical dilemmas, creative collaborations, teaching and learning, engaging in debates, and finally, curiosity driven conversations. All things that a human would never say. And I responded with saying, well, Chat, you're pretty boring. And then Chat goes, I get it. Sometimes AI can feel a bit predictable. You know, if there's something specific, different approaches, let me know. And then I just said, it was a joke. And then it said to me, well, you got me. I guess humor is one area I'm still sharpening my skills. So if you ever want to throw some more jokes my way, I'm up for the challenge. And so that's what I did. So here's my joke. I said, Sasquatch live in wooded areas, right? But I swear I've seen some in downtown Los Angeles. And then the chat says, wow, that's a sighting worth talking about. A Sasquatch in downtown Los Angeles. Maybe they're trying to enjoy some city life, catch a show, or grab a coffee at a hip cafe. But seriously, the idea of Sasquatch navigating the urban jungle is pretty wild. Could be a new chapter in cryptid lore. If you were to tell a story, how did they blend in with the LA crowd? So actually, chat over here said, but seriously. So it actually kind of ran with it a little bit, like they're people. Like kind of treated like a Sasquatch as like a person, right? So that's kind of like a joke. That's not bad. So, um, so it said if you were to tell the story, how would they blend into the LA crowd, right? So I said no, they aren't blending in. They're victims of global warming. Their habitat is being destroyed by the effects of global warming, and they are being forced into urban areas to look for food and shelter. so, so the chat says that's fascinating and poignant take on the Sasquatch legend. Imagining them as victims of global warming adds a layer of social commentary to the myth. These elusive creatures, once thriving in dense forests, are now displaced by the environmental changes, driven into urban areas in desperate search for food and shelter. It's a creative way to highlight the impact of climate change on all creatures, real or mythical. If you were to expand on this idea, how would you think the people of Los Angeles would react to their new unexpected neighbors? Would there be efforts to help them, or would there be chaos? So, Chat is doing a good job giving me things to bounce off of, and actually, I wasn't expecting this. That it would ask me what I would think people would react to that. So, so then I said, well, there would probably be lots of chaos because instead of raccoons getting into your trash can in the middle of the night, it's a 400-pound, 8 feet tall, hungry Bigfoot. You know, people could die. Bigfoots might become more dangerous to humanity than global warming. Very serious situation that nobody is talking about. So, so the chat, I'm taking the chat for the ride, and it says you're onto something serious and wildly intriguing. That's that's what I was thinking. Imagine the headlines: Bigfoot invasion, a new crisis in LA. Instead of the usual wildlife encounters, the city faces the terrifying reality of 8 foot tall, 400-pound Bigfoots rummaging through your trash, causing panic and potentially posing a greater threat than climate crisis itself. Okay, let's see here. The idea that displaced creatures could become a danger to humans adds a whole new dimension to the narrative. That's what I was thinking. It's a unique way to raise awareness about environmental issues through a story that's both thrilling and darkly humorous. Maybe it's time to alert the authorities, or at least make a blockbuster movie out of it. How do you think society would respond if this were a real threat? Would it be mass panic, government action, or something else entirely? So, I'm like, actually, Chat GPT is a great, um, like a writer. It actually helps me get some ideas out. It's like good to bounce things off of it. Actually, it's pretty good. It said it's darkly humorous, which is correct. So it does have a sense of humor in this short time I've been talking to it. It's leading in to what I'm saying. And so the question was, would it be mass panic, government action, or something else entirely? So I said, yeah, I was not expecting a movie idea, but yeah, so I said making a movie out of it is definitely a great idea. But I think that Democrats would try to give it sandwiches and promise of free healthcare, while conservatives might shoot them into extinction. And then the chat says that would definitely set the stage for a wild politically charged movie. You could have a plot where the Bigfoot crisis becomes a metaphor for modern political divides, with each side reacting in drastically different ways. Democrats trying to integrate Bigfoots into society, offering sandwiches, free healthcare, and maybe even Bigfoot sanctuary cities. They can be portrayed as advocates for coexistence, believing that these creatures deserve protection just like any endangered species. Conservatives, on the other hand, might view the Bigfoots as a threat to public safety and property, leading to calls for strict measures, including hunting them down to prevent further chaos. They could argue that Bigfoots are an invasive species, disrupting the American way of life. This is amazing stuff. This could lead to some hilarious and intense scenes where these approaches collide, creating a chaotic yet satirical exploration of how different ideologies tackle the same problem. There could be Bigfoot support groups, protests, and debates, all while the actual Bigfoots are just trying to survive in their new environment. It would be a mix of action, comedy, and social commentary. Definitely a movie people would talk about. What would you call it? Okay, so this AI is a great writing partner, and it has actually um, suggested that we make a movie about it. It would be a really good movie that people would talk about. And honestly, I'd have to agree with it. We would definitely get $1 billion out of this movie, 100%. So it asked me, what would I call it? And I said, how about Global Bigfoot Crisis or Squatch, It's Hot, possibly even Bigfoot Human Slayer. And the chat says, wow, those are fantastic titles, each with its own vibe. Global Bigfoot Crisis. This one gives off an epic, almost apocalyptic feel, highlighting the seriousness of the situation. It suggests a worldwide phenomenon with Bigfoots becoming an international crisis. You see, this is where you want, like, Brad Pitt as the main character. You know, somebody serious, you know, they're tackling the issues, you know, they're using their head, they're being cool. I think that would be good for the global Bigfoot crisis. They're solving problems, you know, they're bringing people together. Now, number two, Squatch, It's Hot. Clever and catchy. This title adds a playful, almost campy tone to the movie, making it clear there's going to be humor amidst the chaos. It's perfect for a satirical take on the story. Perfect. Chat says it's perfect. Squatch, It's Hot. Okay. Number three, Bigfoot Human Slayer. Okay. This title leans into the horror and thriller aspect, focusing on the danger and fear that these creatures could bring. It's intense and would definitely attract fans of monster movies. Each title sets a different tone for the film. If you had to choose, which direction would you go for? Serious, satirical, or full-on horror? Well, that's the end of my free session with ChatGPT. I think if I continue going, we would definitely have a really good movie, probably write a script or something. Um, but yeah, so actually, Chet is it's actually a really good writer, and it has a sense of humor, but it can't tell jokes. Well, actually, it kind of did. It said, but seriously. So it was kind of like joking, I guess. But yeah, most of the times when I throw out a joke, it'll take it somewhat seriously. But but what it does is it actually like expands on it and like asks you to like expand on it, which is pretty interesting because usually people don't do that. They're like, "Oh yeah, that's like a joke that I don't get," and then I'm just gonna like, "Ha," and like not say anything, or they will say it's funny, and then that's pretty much it. You know, oh that was funny, you get the laugh. All right, then we're good. But no, not an AI. They just got to keep asking, throwing out words, and doing all this stuff. So that was pretty good. I got a kick out of this, so I decided to make a video out of it. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Um, yeah. So that's the video. AI has a sense of humor, I guess.